Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multimillionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME, the podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. Welcome to ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast and posse. I'm your host, Tiffany, and I'm laughing at myself. I normally don't re-record any of these episodes, like when there's shenanigans that go on, or if I say a wrong word or whatever, I don't re-record it. That's the whole point of the vibe of this podcast, is for it to be real and raw. The only thing we edit for is we edit in the intro, the outro. Sometimes we have a promo, and for sound quality. Other than that, this is what you're getting. Plus, I'm not going to sit and re-record. I don't want you guys to either. That's way too much time and work and effort, and we don't have it. But I had to because I went down a path with an analogy that I had total conviction in and sounded like I knew what I was talking about. And it was like beyond way off, and it wasn't even like funny. It was like I lost my mind. I'll tell you what it is in a second. You'll see. I'm just like, wow, maybe I shouldn't be recording right now, but it does go along with the title of the episode. This is the trick to getting yourself out of a slump, whether it's in your business, relationships, or with yourself. And the reason you're stuck in a slump isn't what you think it is. If you've been feeling uninspired lately, you can't seem to get your engine going, let alone your brain, you probably assume, that you have a motivation problem. But what you really have is an off-balance energy system. So all the coffee, exercise, and dance music in the world won't fix an energy leak that has likely been going on for months or even years. So that was the case for me before I ended up very, very sick from my body no longer producing cortisol, because I burnt out my adrenals from being in a constant state of fight or flight. I mean, that started for me back in childhood, being a trauma survivor, but then how I led my life with workaholism and high anxiety and toxic relationships and nonstop drama here and drama there. My adrenals were producing so much cortisol, taught my body, hey, you don't need to produce anymore. So we're just going to stop. Well, you need it to live. So that's not good. And I don't want you to be at that point. I know some of you you're having like hormonal issues, maybe weight issues. This shows up in our bodies. It could show up in your skin. It could show up in you getting sick all the time. It can show up in extreme fatigue, even though you've slept. And you don't notice that you have this off-balance energy system because this happens slowly over time. So this is where my analogy went sideways, but it's a good analogy when said correctly. So it would be like you having a pen-sized hole in a rowboat, right? You might get a little bit of water in the bottom, but you're like, well, of course there's some water. I'm in the middle of a lake here. And then pretty soon, right, there's more water, but it's not enough to be concerned about. Well, maybe there is a small leak in this, but it'll be okay. I'm only going to be out here for a little while. And then you go longer, you're like, no, there's a good amount of water down in this boat. Then you start using a cup, to pour the water out. So, right, you pour the water out with a cup. And so then it takes a while to fill back up. So you kind of feel like you're managing it, because you're getting rid of the water. And yes, some of it comes back in, but it's not that hard of work. It seems pretty manageable. And then it just starts getting tiring doing that. And it's like, you know what? I'm almost done being out here on this boat. I'm just going to kind of let this go. And then it becomes to a point where you can't just use the cup to get rid of the water. There's so much of it. and there's so much additional weight in the boat that you're starting to sink. And then you start to panic and nothing good comes out of that. And now we have a real problem. Now, where I went with the analogy at first was the opposite. It was that there was water in the boat to begin with. Like the boat was filled with water versus it being empty and in a body of water. It was completely opposite. And I went down the path with just as much conviction. And then I sat here for a second and went, wait a second. Why did I start off this boat ride where the boat's filled with water? That doesn't make sense. You get what I'm saying. We don't notice it because we're putting Band-Aids on things, right? You're putting a piece of duct tape on that boat. You are maybe having an extra energy drink. Maybe you do a little bit of a different workout and it gives you a boost of energy. Maybe you start taking a little nap during the day and that kind of gets you through it, right? We're Band-Aiding stuff and we don't realize the problem is bad until it's on like high alert and we're paying a price. And usually that's with misery and physically. So my overgivers, empaths, and heart-based entrepreneurs are often in a chronic state of energy imbalance until they learn this thing. The symptoms, show up as weight gain. It can be gut issues like constipation, stiff joints, fatigue, getting sick all the time, being cunty. There's a lot of different ways this can show up. And what I'm about to share with you will require you to manage it for the rest of your life. Just as you have to take a car in for regular maintenance to keep it in top performing shape, you've got to do the same when it comes to protecting and honoring and managing your energy. That is vital. Without that, you ain't got shit, right? Because if your energy is off, you also have health stuff. So it really all focuses in on that energy and the kind of energy that you have. And all of us only have a certain amount every day, and everyone is different. And now some people, as we know them, are like naturally, like they spring out of bed and they're hyper and they have this like endless energy, and they're those weird morning people. Who are my morning people listening? Take a screenshot of the episode, share it in your Instagram, Facebook stories, tag me, let me know, morning person or night person, or just not a morning person. I am not a morning person. I wasn't as a kid. You had to wake me up for Christmas morning. I didn't care what was under the tree. And I'm still the same way. Although I get up for taking trips. So I'll get up for a flight, and I will get up if you pay me enough to get up. Is there anything else I'd get up for? Maybe waffles and coffee. I could probably get up for that. Or if someone really needed me that I cared about. That's really it. That's all that's happening. So I want to know, are you a night person or a morning person? But you are going to have to manage this. So there's a theory, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with this. Those of you who have or know someone who has an invisible illness or a chronic illness might be familiar with this. It's called the Spoonie theory. And when I was sick, I found out about this because really all I had energy for was to scroll on Instagram. And thank God there's people on Instagram that are supporting people going through these things, because I felt so alone and I was so appreciative of all these sites. So the Spoonie theory is every person wakes up with a certain number of spoons, which represent your number of like natural energy or just your current energy based on your circumstances in your life. So let's just use an easy number like 10, right? You might, as an average person, might have 10. Then there's those people who just are naturally more hyper energized. Perhaps, they're a little bit manic, right? Maybe they have 20. And then there's people who have different health conditions. It's not just age, but they have health conditions. They have family drama. They have 5 children. They're working 2 jobs, right? They might have 5. Everyone's different. I would say I'm pretty average now. I would say I have about 10. I think that would be fair. I'm never going to be the 20 person. And that's okay. I mean, although I'm envious of those of you who are like that, I feel like my net worth would be doubled and my entire house would be meticulously organized if I had that kind of energy. So there's different things that we end up losing spoons on throughout the day, right? So let's use me as an example, right? I'm starting with 10. So I go and do a yoga class. I go walk the dog. Maybe I do some content. Maybe I have a meeting, right? And even though a lot of those things are pouring back into myself, I do, I still am expending energy. So let's say I lose, 2 spoons. And then let's say I have, 3 hours of client calls. So then I'll probably lose 1 spoon per hour, which is why I only take 6 private clients at a time, because of how much, I do pour in to those clients. So now what do I have? I have 5 spoons left. And let's say, right, let's say there's mom drama, which I have a lot of right now that I can't get into, but it does involve the FBI, which is wildly fascinating. And I'm like, I don't even know how this is my life. Like, what is going on? So then I see a call come across. It's the FBI. And then the stress, the anxiety, the triggers, the stuff I have to process to not have it spin me for a loop. Maybe I lose 2 more spoons. Now I have 3 left. Then maybe my dog is being really annoying and Chubbs is going crazy and I have to give him another unexpected walk to calm him down. And there's another spoon, right? So you see where I'm going with it. If I had kids on top of that and I started with 10 spoons, probably by 10 a.m. I would have 7 spoons left, if not fewer, maybe 6, right? And when I had a chronic illness that I was managing, which, was happening towards the tail end of me, I still had it when I started and was building ProjectME, right? I probably had 5 or 6 spoons. So I explain this theory so you can make an assessment of how many spoons do you have represented of your energy upon waking. By the way, if I don't sleep at night and a bad night's sleep, I don't wake up with my 10 average spoons. I wake up with like 6 because I don't know about you, but if I don't sleep, it ain't pretty. I'm not one of those people who can function without sleep. It's not cute no matter what I do. So I want you to give yourself grace and just acknowledge and accept this. These are probably my average number of spoons, and that I need to know that I can't spend any more than this. There isn't any more to give after the 10 spoons, the 7 spoons, the 5 spoons, your 20 spoons, whatever you think is best representative of your energy. When they're gone is the point. So spend them wisely. I'm not sure why they picked spoons, by the way, but I'm sure that's easy to Google and it's probably not relevant. So when our ratio is off of output and input, we end up running on fumes, meaning all the spoons are gone, causing all the symptoms of our mental and physical energy to be depleted. This often ignites depression in people. So let me say that again, because I feel like I said part of those words backwards. When our ratio of output to input is off, we end up running on fumes, meaning you're pouring way more out than you're getting in. So this causes all these symptoms of mental and physical energy being depleted, which can ignite depression in people, especially if you're like me, who's already diagnosed with depression, or you can go into like situational depression easily. When our ratio of input to output is off, we end up feeling anxious. We are over-consuming, taking in so much information, other people's energy, and absorbed in our obsessive overthinking. This often ignites anxiety, ADHD symptoms, guilt, even panic attacks, right? Like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. You can end up feeling really dehydrated. Some people have major gut health issues when their input to output is off and when their output to input is off. So one of the two you're in right now, guaranteed. unless you've worked with me or you've worked with someone who has done deep healing work with you and you regularly prioritize managing those spoons of yours. So I want you to take an inventory right now over the last month without judgment, just an observation. Are you heavier on the output side? Have you been pouring more out into people, places, and things than you have been in pouring back into yourself and replenishing your energy and nurturing yourself? Or are you heavier on the input side? Have you been consuming, in learning mode, studying, in your head and your thoughts, and not in much action for yourself? Were you more on that side? And take a look at that. And it will definitely correlate into how you've been feeling. So if your output is maxed, to get back into balance, you need to start taking your foot off the gas and pour into yourself instead, right? Because you've been really just pouring into your family, clients, business, and a lot of doing, and not enough being. So here are some things I do. You can start reading a book that you've kept saying you don't have the time to read. Create a revised morning routine that's dedicated to pouring back into you. Remove some things from your schedule. Ask for help. Outsource. You can move a launch if you need to, right? I mean, you got to do what you got to do. You can't just keep going, well, I've got to do it anyway. You have enough things in your life that you've got to do anyway. And then there's those things that you tell yourself you have to do or it won't get done that are kind of bullshit. You have to really be discerning on those. Because again, once you're out of spoons, you're out of spoons, honey. You could also join my Posse group coaching program and get poured into every week by me and other great members, right? Instead of you pouring out. This is why I have 3 coaches, because I'm getting poured back into by these coaches. When I'm a coach and I'm pouring into you guys and in my content and in my programs and my mastermind and all the things, I need to be poured back into where I'm the client. So you need to take a look at that. Maybe you're not being the client yourself, the client, the customer, right? The receiver. If your input is maxed to get back in balance, you need to put your foot on the gas and take action. So start doing the dang business. Stop treating it like some toad dipping jobby. Start the damn podcast, the blog, or a creative project you've been procrastinating on. Even if it's just 15 minutes a day. I'm not telling you to go spend 9 of your spoons going to balance this. No, that's going to then send you in the other direction. I'm talking just 15 minutes a day. Just start there. Invest in a coach, a mastermind, or a program that's enough money to get you to show up and be accountable. So this is what I do every single month, or I wouldn't do anything. And I'm not joking. I have to have so much money going out that I'm uncomfortable that I would be a lunatic if I did not show up and follow through. First of all, I'd look like a fool to the people who work for me and the people who I've hired as my mentors. I would look like I'm out of integrity. And I would be doing the opposite of what I teach with law of attraction and manifestation, where I would be disrespecting money. And I would just be wasting it. And we're not. And when you waste money, by the way, do you think the universe is going to give you more? No. Be of service to your audience, your church, your neighbors. Do one thing every day to serve while expecting nothing in return. That could be putting out great content. That could be like I did this morning. I took out my neighbor's garbage cans because they weren't out and I knew the garbage truck was coming soon. And it's not like I'm going to knock on their door and tell them I did it. I just did it. Felt nice. Create a fresh morning routine to get your ass moving in a fun way. Like shake things up. You need, because you need to shake things up, that output. Maybe you need to, instead of your morning routine being like so serene, maybe you need to get energized. You need to dance. There needs to be a different kind of workout you do, different type of music you listen to for right now. And then every single day, and this doesn't take hours, right? You need to check in with yourself and go, okay, how did I do with those spoons, right? Did I use them all by 2:00? Where is this input energy balance? Now, I tend to look at it by week, unless I start feeling physical symptoms before, on a certain day or before the week is up. But I'll take a look like, okay, how is that output to input balance? How am I doing? And it's like, okay, you're doing pretty good. Like, this week, for example, I'm getting prepared to move into the upgraded beach house. And moving, we all know is a pain in the ass. I don't care where you're moving to. And so I have that. Something really exciting is coming that I have never done before for you guys, and I'm launching. So I'm in a behind the scenes, like pre-launch phase of writing a lot of content and reviewing the sign up page and all those details. So that's more output. I'm in a lot of output. So I generally am more of an output person. So I can end up feeling very depleted by not having enough input. So I have to really watch it and balance it. So right after I'm done recording this, I will not look at the phone, no more content, and I'm going to my friend Andrea's Patreon group, which is for people who are adult children of alcoholics and dysfunctional families, and she leads it. So she's pouring in. And it's a beautiful private community, right? And I get poured into. And that feels delightful. And then I'll order something unnecessary on DoorDash, which is also delightful. So I am taking, I'm taking a look at that. But you're never going to get this perfect. But the fact that you're going to be more intentionally mindful of keeping your energy system balanced with that input and output, it is a game changer. And you'll feel the difference in just one day. Like if you're listening to this in the morning while you're getting ready, right? You can make these tweaks already today and you will notice a difference in how you feel. Absolutely, without a doubt. So you don't miss it. We only have a couple spots left for new members inside the ProjectME Posse group coaching membership. We have a mega bonus sale going on right now where you get my content creation made easy course. You get my exact content planner that I use and my fill in the blank profitable caption template. So you know exactly how to write captions that convert. This whole package of bonuses is worth $297. You get it for free for joining today. And joining only ends up costing you $3.33 a day. I've made this program where you get weekly live trainings from me on ranges of topics from how to create profitable Instagram reels to how to create a freebie that people are excited to get, how to package your offer so they sell, how to make sure that you use great short form video content to grow your audiences, how to start an email list and grow it. I can go on and on. There's over 180 prior trainings and courses that you get unlimited access to inside our exclusive membership vault. And we have a highly engaged Facebook community, which is probably my favorite part, even though I'm not like a major Facebook person, but I love me a solid, high vibe private Facebook group. And the members collab with each other, go on each other's lives, go on each other's podcasts. You guys, I teach you and encourage you to cross-pollinate your audiences for growth. And there's support, there's resources in there, there's help with tech, any questions you have in your business. You're no longer doing it alone, but it's at a cost where you can easily make this happen. Because I know your ass spends more than this on your coffee habit or on your dining out habit a month or your damn nails. So there's no way You can't make this happen. So go to projectmewithtiffany.com/ProjectMePosse, projectmewithtiffany.com/ProjectMePosse. You can also swipe up and the link is in the show notes. Again, there are only a handful of spots left because we have members that have been in the posse for 3 years. People don't leave, even though this is month to month. You can cancel at any time. You just won't want to. But because members stay for so long, new membership spots don't open that often. So they're highly coveted. You're going to want to grab this, even if it's just for the bonuses and a couple months with me. You'll see what changes in your business. Who is this good for? As long as you're wanting to generate cash and clients online for any type of business. You're a coach, you're a healer, you're a medical practitioner, you're a realtor, you're an accountant, you offer professional services, you're a photographer, you will without a doubt get results, especially if you're between that $0 to $15,000 a month online. I will teach you in there everything you need to know and all the stuff you don't have to waste your time and energy on in order for you to grow and get that cash. Because last time I checked, you're not doing this as a hobby or you probably wouldn't be listening to the show. So please go leave me a damn 5-star written podcast review on Apple or Spotify or both. These reviews are basically what grows the show. And since this show is free for you, and I don't take, if you haven't noticed, not to say I won't ever, I used to have this show be sponsored. Now I sponsor my own show with my own stuff, but you don't get a bunch of ads in my show. You know, I'll share my latest offers and stuff like that with you, but you don't get all these ads like you get in a lot of shows. So therefore, can you at least do me a damn favor and leave a review? Because if you want to get testimonials and review from your people, you've got to kind of take a look at how often are you giving that to the people and resources and places that you love so much. Did I guilt you enough into doing this yet? Or do I have to start threatening for reviews? Because there is no reason I should not be at 600 reviews on Apple Podcasts by now. It's really unacceptable. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you guys. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.